So this guy says that he has a cousin who's always getting into some shit. His cousin always threw these really big parties on his rooftop, and the last time that he went to one of those parties, things went left and he almost got into a fight with some people, so he hadn't been there since. Before we even get to what happened, he wants to explain to you guys that from like one day to another, his cousin just became a Santero. Now, he doesn't want to make fun of people who are Santeros or who are into Santeria, but he says that his cousin didn't even study, like didn't even know that religion. Like one day to another, he woke up, bought a whole bunch of bracelets, a whole bunch of necklaces, and out of nowhere, he's a Santero. To my knowledge of that, I think you have to be initiated because a Santero is kind of like a priest in that religion. His point is, he doesn't believe that his cousin is a real Santero, but he's like, okay, whatever, I'll play along. So after the last party where things went left, he hadn't seen his cousin for a couple of months, but again, he had heard that now he's a Santero and all this stuff, right? He was really bored one day and it was the weekend, and he knew that his cousin threw parties on his rooftop, so he decided to give him a call. When his cousin picks up, he's like, yeah, we're having a party, come on over, and so he did. This time there wasn't a lot of people. It was just him, his cousin, and 3 other girls on the rooftop, and that his cousin was cooking on the barbecue pit. When he saw his cousin, he was full of necklaces and bracelets, and he was like, yeah, I'm a Santero now. And he wanted to giggle, but like he didn't want to be rude, because what if his cousin was a Santero? Like, what if in his head he was just saying he's not because of all the bullshit his cousin had done? So he didn't want to be disrespectful, even though he didn't believe him. So from the rooftop, you could see the entire street of where his cousin lived, and he explains that they were all talking, chit-chatting away, and then they started to hear somebody crying from far away. They all turned to look to where the cries were coming from, and they explained that they can see like a woman from far away wearing all white and almost a veil over her head. When they all saw that figure, he explains that him and the other 3 girls got really scared, but that his cousin, the Santero, was like, guys, don't worry about it, pretend you don't see her, ignore her, you're good with me. And then he kept hitting his necklaces like, we're protected, we're good. He explains how they all looked at him like, okay, cool, but they did not go back to chit-chatting. They were all silent, still scared, because they can see that lady walking towards to where they were. However, they could all tell that the lady wasn't walking, it was almost like she was hovering over the ground and just like gliding down the street. Obviously, they're staring at the lady because they cannot believe what they're seeing, and that's when his cousin gets in front of him and says, do not look at her, don't look at her, ignore her, you don't see her, let's just keep partying. However, by this point, they are all fully aware that what they're seeing is La Llorona. And then the cousin started to talk shit. As he's hitting his necklaces, his bracelets, like, we're protected, she's not gonna get through me, I'm stronger than her. Out of nowhere, all of his necklaces and his bracelets fell off of his body. Like like they just like fell to the ground, his bracelets just fell to the ground, and that's when his Santero cousin looked at him straight in the face and said, let's go inside, hurry, hurry, everybody get inside. They all started walking down the stairs to get back into the house, and he says that they can hear this lady crying, and like it almost felt like she was right behind them, like right into their ears. And when they got inside, they could hear her just surrounding the house, like they couldn't even go home. They all had to wait until morning time to go ahead and head to their own houses, but he explains like, yeah, that's the day La Llorona beat my Santero cousin. Honestly, from what it sounds like, he was not a real Santero, but the fact that he was so confident, like hitting his necklaces, hitting his bracelets, like, yeah, I'm gonna beat La Llorona. Bitch, La Llorona literally said, okay, challenge accepted. Hopefully he learned his lesson and doesn't go party at his cousin's house anymore. But what would you guys do in this situation?